It's very nice to see you here. My name is Martina Laimo, and I would like to welcome you to this series of videos, each of one packed with some career changes ideas, I hope so, that you can put into action right away. But before we begin, I would like to tell you a very short story, a quick story about a little boy that desired to be a corporate guy. He looked at the enterprise buildings like the ones that you can see behind me, and he was impressed by all that world, and he decided to grow his career in the corporate field. He started in software development at the age of 14 years old, and a few years later he joined a multinational company. I think it was before turning 20. By the time he was 26, he had reached a managerial position. There was a celebration because he was the youngest person to become a manager for that company in his country. He was in charge of 37 people that were forming around 8 teams. That certainly would be an opportunity for him to feel proud, to be happy, but instead of that, he felt a profound disillusion. That kind of corporate world, that sort of management, he was told, it was like an empty space for him. No respect for the people, no space for employees to make significant decisions, and fundamentally there was a culture of measurement, command, control that he thought it was stalling the potential for innovation in each and every team in that area. If you didn't guess yet, that boy was me. And after a few years, I was finished. The frustration was like intolerant. I knew I didn't want to get stuck in that kind of work environment anymore. Actually, I almost resigned my job. The only thing that prevented me from that was the fact that I decided to try agility by that time. After titling my first agile project around 2003, it was not long before my professional life made a significant change. Since then, I've been passionate about the profession, and I have seen that most of the people working in that kind of environment were also happier, more creative, more willing to take challenges, more willing to take risks, and more professionals in collaboration. If this story resonates with you, I invite you to stay and listen for the next few minutes that I will be talking about the role of the facilitator in that kind of environment. Since then, I've been more and more involved in the Shell community, turning my profession from a traditional manager to an agile coach. I'm now a certified Scrum trainer and certified enterprise coach by the Scrum Alliance, and I'm also a certified organizational and executive coach apart from the agile world. During these last years, I have the opportunity to train and coach around 2,000 people. It's been like 10 years also. And most of that people were shifting their role into the Scrum Master role. And what I think was the number one factor which many of them struggled the most was the notion of letting the command and control go and turn their mindset into the one required to be an effective agile team facilitator. Actually, one of the questions that I get asked the most is, what is the agile team facilitator activity scope, or which are the responsibilities and skills of an agile facilitator? And this is not strange at all, I think. Not many of us were told about this during our university years. I mean, I was told that I would be a professional with a headset, locked in a cubicle. So let's go through some of the basic team facilitation. There's a person called Besson that in his book Group Facilitation Premier says that the facilitator can be compared to a midwife who assists in the process but is not the one producing the result. And it's a very funny way of thinking about facilitation. There's another author, Schwartz, of the skill facilitator, sorry. He says that group facilitation is a process by which a person who was chosen and accepted by the group, who has no decision-making authority, who is neutral, helps the group improve in the way they identify and solve problems. And many decisions in that field are around increasing the team effectiveness, but not at all intervening in the result. So for me, this definition raises a paradox. The person who facilitates guides the process and therefore is given authority, but this authority that is delegated by the team and undertaken by the facilitator, sometimes out of confusion, is used to interfere with the result. This, I think, normally happens when the facilitator is also the leader of the team. It is for this reason that I think it's so important that when facilitating, we act with integrity and use this delegated authority exclusively to guide the process of the conversation within the team and not to interfere with the result or the content of the conversation. Actually, there's a code of ethics of the International Association of Facilitators that talks a lot about this. It refers to the responsibility of the facilitator, and there are several principles that mention that facilitators are in service to their clients using group facilitation competencies to add value to their work, not their own work. Facilitators should be openly acknowledge any potential conflict of interest. Facilitators should respect the culture, the rights, and the autonomy of the groups. They should use processes, methods, and tools in a responsible way. Facilitators strive to engender an environment of respect and safety where all participants trust that they can speak freely and where individual boundaries are honored. Facilitators use their skills, knowledge, and tools and wisdom to elicit and honor the perspective of everyone, not letting someone not expressing their perspective, and they practice stewardship towards the process and impartially towards the content. There may be, of course, some objections to how we can apply these facilitation skills in an agile environment, and I propose you to go through some of them in the next videos of this series. I will also talk about a participatory decision-making process that, from my perspective, is extremely useful at the time of facilitating an agile team. So then, don't miss the next video. I'd like to honor you for watching this, and I'd like to hear from you. Use the comment section below this video to make any question you may have, and that way we can address them in the next videos. And also, I'll leave you a link to some food for thought material. There are a few questions that you can answer for your own if you want to. Again, thank you for staying with me until the end, and hope to see you soon. Thank you very much.